I know it's here somewhere. I just saw that. Where is it? I know I saw it. Oh, hi everybody. I'm trying to find the Wisdom of Solomon. I know it's in here, Solomon, so it must be, maybe it's near Proverbs. Let me check. No, it's not there. Could it be part of the Psalms? No, let's see. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, John. No, that's not working. Oh, man. What am I thinking? It's not in the Bible. Well, yeah, it is kind of in the Bible, but it's in the Apocrypha. It's an apocryphal book. Yeah, you know the Apocrypha, don't you? Oh, you don't? It's one of those 15 books that occur and were written in between the Older Testament and the New Testament, all right? And they're found in the Greek Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. They're in there, but they're not in the Hebrew scriptures. Got that? Also, they're found in some Protestant Bibles, but not all Protestant Bibles. It's in my Bible simply because mine's a study Bible. But for the most part, they're not. And they are found in the Catholic Bible. But the Catholic Bible uses it as not elevated quite as high as the rest of Scripture, but good for study purposes, which is kind of the way scholars in the Protestant ranks look at it as well. But it's interesting stuff. It really is. Most of it was written from about the year 200 BC forward, the first 100 years AD, okay? In that time period. What we're looking at today, the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, it's a alternate reading that we could even use in our Revised Common Lectionaries, should we choose to do it. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool. We never run across this that often, so why not just say a word or two about it? Just listen to what this says from chapter 6, verse 12. Wisdom is radiant and unfading, and she is easily discerned by those who love her, and is found by those who seek her. She hastens to make herself known to those who desire her. He who rises early to seek her will have no difficulty, for he will find her sitting at his gates. To fix one's thought on her is perfect understanding, and he who is vigilant on her account will soon be free from care. Because she goes about seeking those worthy of her, and she graciously appears to them in their paths, and meets them in every thought. Now, as strange as it seems, this passage would pair very well with our gospel lesson coming up this Sunday, in which there are the 10 bridesmaids, and they're waiting for the arrival of the bride and groom. And remember, half of them had enough oil and the other half didn't, and they ran out of oil, so they went off to the store to get more. And while they were gone, the bridegroom comes, so the doors are shut and the celebration goes on, and they can't get in. Yep, they're locked out. So it talks about using your brains, wisdom. There is a lot of wisdom literature that is in the Old Testament. The Proverbs is part of it, Ecclesiastes, and there's a few other books. And it was a common thing in Hebrew poetry and in Hebrew scripture to have wisdom literature. It's kind of scattered all through the Old Testament. So it's not out of line with what you might find in the Jewish heritage. And in fact, this particular book, The Wisdom of Solomon, was probably written just before Jesus was born. Just a couple of decades before his birth. And it was written by a Jew, most likely in Alexandria, which is going to be heavy Greek influence, but writing to Greek youth who are growing up in the ranks and who are aspiring to be leaders in the Jewish community. And it's talking about seeking out wisdom. Wisdom is found in the Older Testament in a couple different places, being personified just as it is here, and was kind of a helpmate to God in creation and in other areas of life. And it was also something that was highly prized to be sought after. Wisdom. You know, God said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. We're not supposed to be stupid people. We're supposed to use our heads. We should be seeking God's wisdom. And this passage right here, if you were to read it, or if I were to read it to you and say, hey, where does that come from in the Bible? Right away, you're going to say, oh, I know. That comes from Proverbs. And I'm going to go, no, it doesn't. But it sure sounds like it could come from Proverbs chapter 8. A lot of the same things there as you find here. Now, Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, was probably written much earlier than this Wisdom of Solomon. But there's a thought among scholars that there's a whole body of wisdom literature floating around out there that we just don't have our hands on anymore. Maybe there'll be a discovery or two and they'll unearth something that we can find it. But it was something that was highly prized by the Hebrew people. And they read it and they meditated upon it because it was yet another pathway to understanding the will of God in our lives. So it's a very neat passage, and listen to any of the passages that come from the Wisdom of Solomon, especially if you happen to go to a Catholic wedding. There are passages that are read from this. A funeral, there are passages that are read from this book, because they do talk about life and living and relying on God, God's strength, God's wisdom to be our wisdom, to guide us in our decision making in life. Just thought we would take a quick look at that today, because that's something we don't often run across in our paths, especially as myself in the Lutheran tradition, but I think many of us as Protestants don't often focus on that. But to all my Catholic friends, I'm giving you a shout out today. God's blessings be with you. Enjoy this 60-degree weather in November. And I know it's going to last a little bit longer, but I'm just beginning to wonder just how much longer. Hopefully we get another 4 or 5 days in. Blessings be with you this day.